Topping today's news, Prime Minister Davis leads off debate on the 2024-2025 budget. The opposition leader critical of the government's hefty consultancy budget. Sir Cyril Fountain lies in state ahead of his funeral, and a couple gets bail after importing 9 handguns and ammunition into the country. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jarino Saunders. This is your JCN Evening News. It's a pleasure to have you join us. The Davis administration has been criticized for plans to conduct and implement a salary review that will increase compensation for the entire public service. As he led off debate on the 2024-2025 fiscal budget, Prime Minister Philip Davis today says he has heard those concerns, especially regarding the cost. He sought to explain the government's position.
I wish to clarify that the government's decision to allocate funding toward its salary review in the public sector is specifically to improve pay to employees and not to hire a private company to review salaries. For some reason, a member of the opposition has spread baseless news that question how this money will be used. I will clearly say it again. The funding will be used to compensate our hard-working public service employees. Madam Speaker, in order to offer competitive salaries, the government has to benchmark public sector salaries against private sector salaries. Regular salary reviews should be conducted to guarantee that the government can provide adequate compensation to retain employees in the public sector.
Prime Minister Davis explained that a significant number of professionals have left the public sector in recent times to work in the private sector because of better pay and better benefits. And for this reason, the salary review, he says, for the public sector is crucial.
The simple truth is that we operate in a globally competitive job market. We are therefore not just competing with the private sector for professional and skilled workers, we are competing against developed countries as well. So, for example, for nurses, teachers, police officers, correction officers. So this salary review is critical. If we do not offer salaries at competitive rates, people will not want to work in the public service.
Prime Minister Davis maintains that a strong public sector is essential for a nation's progress. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Philip Davis took a moment to congratulate Michael Pintard on his victory as leader of the Free National Movement following their one-day convention on Saturday. But he also threw a few jabs at Mr. Pintard.
I'd like to pause for a moment to congratulate the leader of the opposition on his re-election as leader of his party. We wish him well. That's in the script. As we partner together to fulfill the legislative responsibilities of this honorable House. And we are pleased that he wasted no time in setting out his party's economic plan. It provides a strong and welcome contrast to the measures contained in our budget, making it easier for the Bahamian people to see the political choice they now face.
The Prime Minister questioned the wisdom of the opposition holding a convention during the budgetary period. While acknowledging the opposition has a job to do, Prime Minister Philip Davis is inviting the leader of the opposition to work together in the best interest of the country. The government has increased its consultancy services budget for the 2024-2025 fiscal year by $12 million, allocating $76.6 million for consultancy services in 32 government agencies. Today, outside the Parliament, Leader of the Opposition Michael Pintard critiquing this staggering increase and says the opposition and Bahamian people, they have yet to see a return on the previous consultant investments.
The government may be able to convince the Bahamian public that they're justified with these increases for consultants if they can then identify the consultants they have already and to show what benefit they have added to the ministries or departments that they're part of. That's a simple exercise. They refuse to do it, so we now suspect that they already know that some of the persons who have been hired are adding no value to the public service. For all we know, a number of them can be political operatives who they were seeking to create employment for, place them in a ministry on our backs while they do the work of the PLP.
Shifting his critique to the Ministry of Finance that has the largest consultancy allocation of $27.1 million, Mr. Pentard posed a number of questions on how this has benefited the government's management of the country's debt.
We also asked them to tell us what was the benefit of the company that they hired to assist them with the debt management strategy. And what has that debt management strategy report, what has it produced for us in that area? And so again, we are concerned, we're suspicious in light of the fact that the government would just not lay the facts on the table for the Bahamian people.
This fiscal year, 9 government agencies saw an increase in their consultancy services budget allocation, including the Ministry of Tourism, the Office of the Attorney General, and the Ministry of Education. Mr. Pentard is demanding answers on the impact of the continuous increases in the consultancy budget, saying the government needs to release much more than simply figures. And finally, in this segment, after protests Tuesday by members of the Union of Tertiary Educators, or UTEB, they were outside of the Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institution, BTVI, on Old Trail Road. They also had some attacks against its president, Dr. Linda Davis. The board of directors of BTVI responded via a written statement on Tuesday. The board advised that the president acts on the advice of the board of directors. They reminded that BTVI and the union signed a historic industrial agreement in July of 2023 with several supplementary clauses that remain to be negotiated after the signing. The statement said some of the outstanding matters are being reviewed and addressed as quickly as the institution is able to. The statement also said Dr. Davis continues to have the full confidence of the board of directors. The board says going forward they hope to have the union's continued support and collaboration as they advance the institution for all stakeholders and await funding approvals to allow for the institution to honor its commitments. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back after these commercials.